Avatar Meheraba Kijay. This is not going to be like a super polished presentation. This is a debrief meeting, and then at some point I'll also have a conversation about what Baba Zoom has been able to accomplish so far with fundraising. But I wanted to put Inga on right away while she has signal. So if people are joining in a little bit late, sorry about that. Inga, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, guys. I don't know if you can see me out there, but we are up in Avery County. We're at a civilian run airport where people have donated their time and energy here to create a field hospital. They're also doing runs and checks on people to make sure that they're safe in their homes. And I wanted to say thank you to all of you guys who've been sending support and donations to make a lot of things happen. And Angela, thank you so much for setting it up. It's been quite the journey for our little family to be included in so many wonderful things. So every single one of you, all the donations have been just incredibly wonderful. And I can't even thank you guys enough for the support that you've sent out. It's been absolutely overwhelming, and tears of joy have come to my eyes many times to see these supplies coming in for people who really need them. We've gotten generators out to people into the mountains, and that's been really great, and lots and lots and lots of good stuff going out. So today, my husband and I are here at this little makeshift field hospital that's going to be here for the next several weeks. The surrounding hospital just reopened, but we'll be doing stuff to help people get, nutritional support back with IVs and stuff like that, any issues that are coming up. We do a lot of like ATV runs, and they're doing a lot of like helicopter rides in. So it's been really helpful for them to get out into the areas where people can't get accessed. So that's happening here as well. And then they also have a big center where they're collecting all donations, and then they're bringing them up in the ATVs, and people are coming up in carloads and picking them up. So it's been really great. It's a really busy time of day here. So I hope you guys can hear me and it's not too loud. And but I think, some of the most amazing things has been just the checking in, having Glenn sing us songs yesterday after he dropped stuff off at our house. Just amazing. And then just knowing like each one of you like individually wrapped it, my heart has been bounding with joy with like the little stickers that have been on the bags and stuff that people have sent. It's just been absolutely wonderful. It was 30 some degrees today, so warm weathered stuff was really welcomed. And I'm still wearing my own wool jacket here. It's been a little chilly, but it's starting to warm up now. And so yeah, everything's been just really overwhelmingly awesome. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you guys. Michael has some pictures and stuff that I've been sending out, and yeah, it's really great. This is not like by any means over, just to let you all know to keep sending your love and prayers. I mean, some of these people are going to be without power for months and months. And some of the roads we heard were actually, they're not even going to repair them. Some of the roads are completely washed away. They're actually having to forge new roads and ways in. We saw multiple bridges. They did some makeshift bridge for us to get into here, having to actually block that road off, I think starting Monday of next week. So they're going to have to make an alternative route because the bridge is actually collapsing. So this area got hit super hard. Problem is that it's not just this area. It's like every area. Kind of Asheville is like the center hub, and it looks like an atomic bomb hit everywhere, like pushing out in all directions. So super sad to see. A lot of these places are stomping grounds for my family, the Savage family. We go camping up here by the Tow River campground. I think it's completely gone. We saw houses that have been floated away, and it's just really sad. We just brought a generator up to a lady the other day with a Starlink, and super, super sad to see so much, tragedy up here. It's really bad. So, keep praying for these people. It's going to be a long road of recovery for them. It's not going to be short term.
So for those who don't
I
know
just
you,
want to
how
say I
many
admire your vigilance, your resilience, your resourcefulness, your courage. God bless you.
Inga,
Baba loves you.
how many neighborhoods have you been to? How
been in
many
contact
areas?
with.
Yeah.
Well, so what we did was, and it kind of just happened serendipitously when we were checking with our friends, because we have so many friends in this area. We homeschool our 3 kids. So we just reached out to all of our friends, and we have friends going all the way down to Polk County. I don't know what you've heard about the Columbus, Polk County area. The surgeon that my husband works with at the hospital was pulling bodies out so much that he had to stop.
Wow.
Really traumatic for him. He's actually going to possibly be on Ann Vandersteel's channel and do an interview with her. She was up here. She's been down at the border doing like border crisis patrol and really exposing some of the things happening with child trafficking down there. We were part of some people that we know who life flighted out 6 children who were being caught and abused. And so that was really hard to hear when they got flown out. There's just been a lot going on. So, it's not being really reported, really in this area. But we started getting in contact with people in our area. And then as we got in contact with them, they started pushing us out to fire marshals and different people in the neighboring towns. And so we just started building relationships. So one of the best things that I can tell you in a crisis situation is get to know your fire departments. Those people are badass. I don't mean to drop the F-bomb, but they are. They're just amazing. They're so amazing. Those fire marshals have helped us out so much. So, that's really huge. So definitely be in contact. So my friend got a hold of them. And so that's how we started. We got 12 different drop locations set up through different people in churches, and they all started linking together. And then our friends just started finding needs, and then we started pushing them out. So, just been kind of crazy. It's been crazy, awesome, great. And really wouldn't have done it without support from people. And it's been all people that are the best, like just having people like you guys, sending us stuff, because I certainly don't have, all those resources. And so it's been amazing. I'm just amazed to see the support. Really, it's just been amazing. So
Tell that
really
cute,
thankful.
tell that sweet little story about Jim Knutson knowing someone.
Oh my God, that was so great. So I put out a request for ham radio. And so Jim calls me and says that he owns the transit for the ham radio on top of Mount Mitchell. And so that led him to call me. And then they gave me the South Carolina ham lady who was coordinating, who found us a lady who needed supplies. We were able to get her a generator, a Starlink. It was just amazing. We were just so blown away. And then this lady calls who was donating generators, and she says, I'm looking for a ham coordinator. I said, oh my God, I just happened to get today, apparently. Now all through the Baba Zoom. And we were just so thankful. I was like, oh, Baba, you are so great in so many ways. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. It was just all these little like coincidences happening that has been just super incredible. But I'm telling you, get to know your fire people. They are just incredible. They hands down have been my favorite people because I can call them and they know the areas. So they've been doing a lot of search and rescue, and they've just been really great. I love fire people. I'm highly in love with fire people now. I didn't realize how important it was to get to know, local people like the sheriffs and the people in your town. But now that I've had the blessing of going through this experience, which has been hard at times, and I don't know how many days we've been going now, but it's been a long time. So,
It has been a very long time.
It's not going to end anytime soon. So just pray for us to have the sustainability, because, usually 20 days after is when it starts to get a little hectic. So pray that people just, maintain that kind of stability. So I'm going to hop off because I should probably get back to the tent and help, because it's getting to be noon and people are packing up to go out on some journey. So, but I just want to say, yeah.
If you have a final word, what would you say the next steps are? I mean, you still need stuff, but the stuff is changing.
Stuff is changing. I would say biggest thing right now is sustainability, to be able to sustain all that we're doing. the manpower to sustain. And then, most likely it'll be medical funding for supplies. We're noticing some holes in that, like bigger things like EKG monitors out in this field hospital and stuff like that, because depending on what the need might be over time, there's a lot of people who aren't going to have power probably for a while or be able to have a lot of access to things. It'd be nice to be able to see whatever's happening here. And if there's a need, I just got contact, there is another need for another like field medic hospital somewhere. And so I don't know if we're going to be able to do that, but maybe have the ability to do something like that would be great. But I think just staying in contact with us and, I don't know, we'll be in touch about what's needed, I guess.
Yeah.
And we'll just see what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah. I love just seeing the Samadhi pictures on people's screens and knowing that I'm connected to you all. It's the best gift ever. And oh my God, just singing songs and not to forget the lightness of Baba and the heart in it all. It's really beautiful to see people coming together. But I just remember opening up a package and knowing that it came from the Baba community. I just started crying. It's really sweet. Somehow it helped me just stay the course. And I think that's the thing that I'm going to remember the most. That and, all the outpourings of little sticky notes on top of everybody's bags.
Oh, so sweet.
I mean, you don't think of these little things as being like sentimental, but for me, that's what did it. It's just the little sticky notes, people saying like one wool blanket and one really nice hat. I just thought that was so sweet. It's really touched my heart that you guys took the time to prepare all those things for these people out here. And if I can later today, I'll take a sign of the Avery County, Mount Mitchell, and Spruce Pine area. They all they have like little notes on the side of the road. It says, "Thank you for helping Western North Carolina. We love you." And it's so sweet. And they're all over the side of the road because it's really bad out here, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so really sweet. And of course, the song yesterday just made me weep uncontrollably with Glenn. I was like, "Oh, Baba, you're so good." So anyway, well, I'll let you guys go. It's getting late here.
Thank you
Jai
so
Baba,
much.
everyone. Avatar, Mara Baba, TJ.
Avatar, Mayor Baba.
Baba Ki Jai.
TJ.
I give you
Baba.
the strength to keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Change this world. Jai Baba.
So, for those who are just logging in, I had to grab Inga while there was signal, so we kind of just jumped right in. I was thinking today would be more conversational. I don't have like a super duper prepared, slick presentation. I have a lot to share, but we can share it over the course of time. If there's others who really need to go first, I'm game to change the order. Otherwise, I'm just gonna call on hands in the order that they're raised. There's a digital raise hand button at the bottom if you aren't familiar with Zoom. And I actually would like to follow up a little bit on what Inga was saying. So, quick summary, and as I said, later on I'll have time to share more photos and whatever, but very first off, there was a lot of interaction with her, which is between me and her, which is how I even started fundraising, because knowing someone who knew people who was literally going to help get stuff from us to real people was important to me. I didn't want stuff to just go to like some big warehouse and people had to come fetch it for themselves and that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So one of the very first trips was Daniel Files. Well, it was our first trip, our first Baba effort. And then the second was Charlie Eaton. And the third is Glenn, who's there right now, who volunteered with a chainsaw and said he wanted to do some work. And I said, "That's awesome. I'll put you in touch." And then he proceeded to say, "Well, do I bring my car or truck? I said, truck! And I gave him a list of things to shop for, and Baba Zoom Fundraising was able to send him off with a good number of things. So this is the way we've been operating on Baba Zoom, the way the fundraiser has been working. I've been in coordination with people who have real need, and I've been able to send stuff specifically to that need, interacting a great deal with the driver who's done a lot of shopping, so like he's sort of a shopper as well. So that's part of what we've been able to do. I'll tell you more about some of the smaller things, but the other huge thing is that just yesterday and the day before, I was put in touch with Ellie Childs, who is a Baba lover, not yet particularly plugged into Asheville because she's a mom of an 8-year-old. And she's been able to acquire 32 water tanks, the 300-gallon type. And her fundraising efforts, boy, she spent 4 days trying to raise funds locally, and that is just so hard because everyone's got, very poor communication with no internet. And whatever she was able to do obviously was at great cost of time and energy and effort, but Baba Zoom independently fundraising, we were able to majorly fund that purchase. Her vision is that these water tanks would go into neighborhoods and be communal and be potable water, in other words, drinkable water. Um, so she's already got all 32 spoken for. They're going to be delivered over the course of this week. It's very exciting that people are going to have easier access to life-saving resources. Right. So, enough for me at the moment. I'm going to go down the list of hands, and I actually think Michael Ivy should go next because he's living with not living with, he's living at Inga's house and probably has a lot to say about how that's going. Michael.
Here we go.
There you
Okay,
go.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thanks for everything you've done, Angela, and thanks for everybody who's donated to the relief effort here. It's quite different from any hurricane experience that we're used to looking at, primarily because the lay of the land here is so different. We don't get hurricanes here, but it's all mountains and valleys and streams and forests. So a huge amount of damage was done outside the cities proper, because all of these outlying areas are very populated. It's an old part of the country, but you have to go on small 2-lane roads that are covered with forests, and the roads are parallel to streams that flooded like no floods have ever happened here before, and trees just went across power lines and roadways everywhere. So the first major effort has been kind of a digging out process. Um, I was keeping Will and Inga's place for the month of September while they took a big Western trip, and they got back on the Thursday night when this thing hit. I mean, in the middle of the night and in the next morning is when the main part pushed through, and just an amazing amount of water came from the sky. Um, right now, this is like day 16. There was the initial massive flooding. I was told that the main river that goes through Asheville, the main river that goes through Asheville is the French Broad. And I have heard estimates of between 7 and 10 feet over the previous flooding record happened. So
Yeah, the storm
everywhere,
surge was like 24 feet or something like that.
24 feet
That's the
where?
storm surge, and normally a surge is expected around, even with flash flooding, is expected at 2 feet. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we've
Uh,
seen images of the Biltmore, house, the water line is just ridiculously high. It's up to the second floor or third, whatever it is. It's just insane.
Right. So,
You've
Inga,
driven around though. You've seen it.
yeah, actually, Inga wanted me to show you a couple of segments from videos that have been made, if we have time, and
Yeah, yeah.
if you want to do the program like that.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone is
I,
free to share as much as they can.
I just wanted to say that that Inga turns out to be incredibly well connected with people that I've been around the country who I've been watching and listening to for years on podcasts. It seemed like every second or third day she'd be on the phone with somebody that I'd say, "What? You're talking to them?" People like Josh Yoder of Freedom Flyers, Ann Vandersteel, who is on Brighteon, Ty and Charlene Bollinger. Um, Bunch of special ops guys came up from Texas. Yeah, you
I made you a co-host so you can screen share if that's something that you're able to do.
you want to do that now?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's do that,
Okay.
and you can talk about it as we go.
I need to click my share screen,
Yes.
desktop,
And then
share,
if there's any sound, you have to share sound. But
and then let's see. Okay, this one is one she wanted. So here we go. Can you see?
When the reservoir is closer to.
Can you see that first?
yes,
And here?
yes.
Okay,
Yep.
here we
The
go.
top, it was
Yep.
gonna come down and then, but we couldn't get out of our street because trees were down. We had 17 minutes between the alert that said evacuate, mandatory evacuation, evacuate now, and then shelter in place, seek highest ground. We had 17 minutes to leave and we couldn't, and there was nowhere to go, so we had to stay. All right, we gotta think about getting out of here. You go deep, just walk around, take this time. I do want to just walk around me, walk around me until I die.
All right, what is probably going to end up being a really long video is going to start off just a little differently because there are people, there are Americans right now who are trapped in these flood-ridden areas of Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee that thousands of people are missing. We don't even know, we won't know for a while, like what's really going on, how many people are alive or dead. It's the stories that are coming out right now are insane, and I can't even wrap my mind around it. I'm actually really pissed off. But before we get into all of that, people in these areas right now are without power, they're without clean water, they don't have food, gas, medicine, supplies, things like diapers. They're stranded and they have nothing. And so I want to start off with just a couple of resources that might help people because there's not a lot of information in central locations that people can access easily. So I try to find some stuff like that. I want to put it up front for the people who really need it. So the first thing that I found that I thought seemed very useful was up at Citizens Times. They've posted an interactive citizens emergency map, which has dots all over it. And if you switch to data view, it tells you things like where you can go to get water, where you can go to get food, emergency shelters that are open, places where you can charge a cell phone or get Wi-Fi, places where you can get a free meal, places where you can take a shower. There's lists here, has addresses, information about when that's happening. And so that's like 17 pages of stuff that people have provided here for people who are needing these resources. And I will put that link first. I'm going to make a list of links. I'm going to stick it in a pinned comment below. It'll be the top pinned comment. This is going to be the first link on it. anybody you know that's in that area that needs help, you could send them this link, because it's just so much information of places where they can, take a shower or charge their phone or get something to eat or get water, which everyone is desperate for right now, or a meal. So I'm going to put that link first. The second thing that I think everyone needs to see, and it's pretty astounding. There's a Facebook group, and I wouldn't normally say, hey, go join Facebook. We were kicked off of Facebook years ago, and I don't recommend Facebook, and I never usually would, but I am now for this reason only. There is a missing persons group that has been set up for Eastern Tennessee and Western North Carolina due to the flood. It was set up 4 days ago, and it already has 66,000 members. There have been over 200 posts on here just today of people who are missing. It's a place where you can go and post a picture of your loved one or a name and information if you're trying to find somebody that you haven't heard from that lives in these areas that have been affected by this storm. There have been 2,100 posts just in the last 4 days on this group of people who are missing. It's insane. Thousands of people are missing right now that no one has heard from. They don't know if they're trapped. They don't know if they're hurt. They don't know what's going on. So that's one place you can go and join and post a picture. Another place is this Google document that's been set up, the Hurricane Helene People Finder. It's basically just a Google spreadsheet, but they have a form here that you can fill out. You can put the name of the person, where their last known location was of these states, and any additional details like their address or their license plate or any information you have about this person to try and find them. And then you can put your information so they can contact you. And they're basically just keeping up this color-coded spreadsheet of people who are missing, and that's in red, and people who are found. Although there is one on this list that says deceased in yellow. They're updating this all the time, but there are over 2,500 names on this list. So again, thousands of people are missing. So if you're missing somebody and you go to this Facebook page and join it and put that person, and you go to this Google spreadsheet and put their name, you've now put that out there in the 2 places that I found that have the most people concentrated together trying to help each other locate their missing friends and family members in this situation.
Well, life is bad. We might be real with a nigga near my side. You keep your hand upon the throne and your eyes upon the veil.
Oh, I hope not. Oh, we're gonna go open the app. We have to, guys.
We were not warned.
Whoa. Oh, dear. Keep it out.
To give you an understanding of the devastation we're dealing with here. Chimney Rock's gone. Flying Bridge gone. And road's gone.
Everything on the farm drowned. Couldn't get everything out. We managed to save one horse.
Leaving comments of, oh, why didn't they evacuate? Da, 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 da. I don't think you comprehend how quickly this happened. And these areas have never flooded like this before.
I know that never seen downtown Boone flood like this. Look at that.
We have one way in and one way out. How are we supposed to flee if and when that bridge goes? It took our bridge. It took our driveway.
The amount of bridges that are out, the amount of landlocked, stranded people is unbelievable. Guys with me that have done it 30 years and they've never seen anything like this.
It's been an incredible.
Okay, I guess that's a good flavor of what's going on. Can you take the screen back to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. There we go. Yeah, so that's actually quite organized, and I appreciate that. It's one of those things where I've just been glued to watching all this footage on Facebook, and it's just horrifying. And that's one of the reasons I was so galvanized to help. And it's endless, the amount of like, they call it disaster porn nowadays. It's just it's so intense and it's hard to
But
turn off. But go ahead, Michael.
before I pass the mic, I wanted to say whose videos those are. They're two, part one and part two, and those were made by Aaron and Melissa Dykes of Truth Stream Media, and those videos are called "What Is Actually Going On in North Carolina," parts one and
Yeah.
two.
Right,
That's
right.
the
Well,
first one was
well,
like 50 minutes long. The second one is like an hour and 20 minutes long. So it's just
we'll
got
come
enough.
back to you, Michael, at some point to talk about like what is actually happening, like as far as recovery. But Kipper needs to walk his little lady. Is that the dog or the cat or the baby?
The baby that's strapped to me. She's calling all the
Baby
shots.
needs. Oh, she's so big now. Look at her.
Yeah, so this is Busy. For those of you that have not had the opportunity to meet her, she did make an appearance at the Southeast Gathering this year.
When
She's
she was
officially,
like 2 weeks old.
yeah, she's officially 9 months now, and is having quite the adventure. We are currently still sheltering over at my in-laws' house, actually right around the corner from Michael Ivy. I bumped into him on one of our walks together, actually.
Mm-hmm.
They're on well water, and as the crisis here is still continuing to unravel, the biggest issue is a lack of potable water. The water mains for the largest reservoir in Asheville, known as the North Fork, were completely destroyed, and they're doing their best to hook them up. They have a bypass now, a 36-inch bypass, like that's the smaller one, if that gives you any scope as to the size of how much water we are not getting. So we're here as it's easier to feed her and bathe her when we know that the water is clean, and we're still waiting for things to evolve in a more positive manner so that we can head back to our own home. The footage that Michael showed actually has multiple shots of Biltmore Village, which is directly next to the Swananoa River, right before it has the junction with the French Broad. And that's also where my wife's second Asheville boutique was located, and it was completely devastated. It's a 2-story building on a 4-foot riser, and every other flood that has ever happened in this area has just gotten up to their doorstep. Never been a problem. And with this flood, it was completely submerged up to the second floor. And what that video that Michael shared with us really does show is the immediate effects of the devastation. But what's continuing to unfold is the residual effects and the cleanup efforts. One of our more popular areas, known as the River Arts District, is wiped off the map. The buildings are gone. It's not even a matter of cleaning them out. They are gone, and it will take
Like physically gone, like not even there.
years. Jay Showers waving at his granddaughter.
Yeah.
It will take years to rebuild from all of this.
Yeah.
And the other matter of that is that we're all affected in some manner. I feel like my wife and I are luckier than most. She just lost a business. We didn't lose a home. We
Yeah.
didn't lose loved ones. We know people that are no longer on this earth, but not people that were directly involved in our lives. And it is absolutely heartbreaking. The only thing that I can really take from all of this is that the innate kindness and love of all people seeing this devastation and giving from their hearts to support us is just beautiful. And I really wanted to express my gratitude to our Baba community, as well as the Baba Zoom community specifically, for these fundraisers that you have all done. We've been gifted a donation from those fundraisers, and it means a lot as I'm out of work. All my all my work is basically I've got a couple of gigs left that I'll be traveling to Charlotte and Raleigh as they've relocated because things can't happen in Asheville right now. There's just no way that you can bring people in for events. There's no water. Like, there's nowhere to stay. The hotels are being occupied by first responders who are doing their best just to have beds and are having the same issues of having to flush toilets with unpotable water. So the biggest thing I can say is that this is not over. And I fear that sometimes you see the footage of floods and you think, oh, well, the water has receded, and the water has receded, and what is left is devastation on a level unparalleled. It's hard to even convey, even with videos, unless you're standing in it and looking around and knowing what was once there. It really shows the awesome force and magnitude of these superstorms. So, but I don't want to stop on a dark note. I want to start to say thank you so much. And we are truly blessed to have such a loving community and to be surrounded from all sides of the globe. My love to you all, and Jai Meher Baba to all of you.
And I believe you did get one of those water tanks. You did
Yes,
claim
they're
one.
putting
Yes.
it.
Isn't that
So
exciting?
as we are out of our neighborhood, the focal point of community and support and supplies has become our neighbor Muggsy. They call her porch the happy porch because people are always laughing on it. If they need a hot meal, if they need coffee, I even got diapers from her. She has become the focus, and we have a strange property that couldn't hold one of the water tanks, and I messaged her and asked, would you be willing to host one of these for our neighborhood? And she said, of course, we'll make it work. So she and Ellie are coordinating and in correspondence. I know you want to go on a walk. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is such a boon to us and our neighborhood specifically. It's a neighborhood called Shiloh, which is has been the economically sort of challenged area of the town for quite some time, and still continues to be that very marginalized community. So having the support of just being able to know that someone in the neighborhood has water and you can go get it will be such a gift to all of us.
It's so exciting that Baba Zoom was able to participate in that. I will say it was a hefty sum. We got a fundraise. I'm going to just put it out there that we're doing really good things. We're supporting real people with these funds. Baba lovers and their neighbors, and Baba lovers who are doing things for other non-Baba lovers. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, it's not about the designation Baba lovers, but it is about helping real people that we know and love, and supporting them in their ability to help people as well. So, Jai Baba, go walk busy. Yay, busy.
Jai Baba, nice to see you, Dad. Love you.
Hi, Dad. Alicia's been very patient, so I'd like to call on her, and then I'll call on you, Jay. You need to mute. There you go.
A couple of things. I put a couple of links in the chat that Governor Roy Cooper had given officially. If you're concerned about specific counties, you can look it up. I haven't looked recently, but originally there were also excuse me, I'm thinking about Facebook groups per county that have been set up. So there were also all kinds of resources listed there in terms of the state for individual counties, how to apply for disaster relief. It's a very helpful link. The other was to donate in general for Western NC. I saw that Angela is asking that Baba lovers donate to the Baba Zoom. Be that as it may, what Governor Cooper and the state of North Carolina have done is they designated United Way to distribute funds that are received through nc.gov donate to the organizations that have boots on the ground in Western North Carolina to use the money to distribute the aid. So that's how it's being used. So then that takes me to my next point, which was Inga had mentioned that in their field hospital, they needed medical supplies and personnel. And then another was that they needed a field medic plus another field hospital. No doubt I know she's well connected, much more so than I. I'm not connected to anything but Baba, which is fine.
Which is everything.
Yeah, right. Everything and the nothing. But the nothing me, he the everything. But I'm wondering if there's some way for her to connect with United Way and maybe they could get these resources. So
Yes,
you
yes,
have
she's
Mhm.
going to be working on resources that are larger than the Baba community per se. However, you never know, Baba lovers are a very disparate bunch, and you just never know who's connected to who. So we're putting the word out, you never know. She
No, but
might
I'm
find a
also
connection through this one meeting, you know what I mean?
right. The other thing is that the Red Cross and other major organizations are already working with United Way. So it may be that
Yes.
Inga is connected to the Red Cross. I don't know. I'm just offering this information in case it's helpful. And Baba will do with it what he wills. Thank you. And to Angela and everybody who donated, again, thank you on behalf of Baba lovers there in Western North Carolina and everyone else.
I'd
Last,
like to
yeah, sorry, last
I'd
time.
like to make a quick note that you participated as a shopper for Glenn's trip. Glenn is there right now. He left from Durham yesterday and he's working with his chainsaw. Maybe Michael even can tell us where he is right now. But if you want to
Just to,
share about
and
that.
that they mentioned 120 dead as of this morning in Western North Carolina. There are probably more people, as was already said, since there's so many missing. To keep them in our prayers, all of them, as we know. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Jai Baba.
I would like to add to that one of the very first efforts that I got engaged in was I saw that Laurent was keeping a Facebook list of people who he knew were safe, and I built on that, and then I centralized the list and I asked other people who knew who, and we centralized this list of known Baba lovers who are known to be safe. So amazingly, so far, I haven't heard of anyone who's been actually injured through this storm. So they're all physically safe that I know of. I mean, one defines known in a shifting slope, right? It's harder to define when you get to the edges of what Baba lover even means. But other people we know. So far, that's the case. Of the houses that have been damaged by the storm, it's been corners of roof as opposed to whole roofs. So that's been, I think, 3 houses I've heard of. 1 car totaled of the people that we would all know. Obviously, Baba lovers know other people who have experienced far worse. So Jay Baba, that's one of the ways that I know that Baba has some plan for all of this, and he does take care of his own. We all have to go through suffering, but he does lighten the load if you have a connection to him. It is a true experience. I'll call on the next hand unless Michael, you wanted to say something. Was that?
I just wanted to say that people here have extraordinary reluctance, or from watching what has happened, to go to any sort of governmental or large organization with donations. Because there's overhead to all of those things and bureaucratic red tape, and a hell of a lot more is being done just by individuals like the savages here. for being nodes of donations and supplies coming in, and then knowing people to go to distribution sites. A lot more is being done like that. Yeah, Glenn was here yesterday and unloaded his truck, sang a beautiful song for us while he was here. And I believe he's working with Tracy
Right, Tracy Smith.
Schmidt today.
She had a strong request for a chainsaw crew.
Damage to her house.
Excellent, excellent. That's great news. And was he also working on Inga's yard? There was a tree down.
There was another guy. There were some huge trees in the backyard here. Not just one. They lost one car.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. And there's another guy named Willie who knows Gil and Chitra in Chapel. Are they in Chapel Hill or Raleigh? They're in Chapel Hill. Anyway, he's here working with the chainsaw on their yard.
Wonderful. Wonderful news. That's so great. Yeah. Yeah, he tagged along, he caravanned. Glenn drove a truck and his friend drove a pickup, and we piled it on with stuff that Baba Zoom was able to fund, and it's all exciting. I've got photos from the loading and the unloading as well, which I'll share later.
Tell me Glenn's last name again.
Glenn Sheffield.
Sheffield. Okay.
Yeah, so that was trip number 3. Just happened. So he's still there. All right, I'm going to go down the list of hands unless anybody else is urgent. Jay, go for it.
Thank you. I just would like to add a couple of data points for people. And my first data point is it's really extraordinary what the Myrtle Beach community has done for Western North Carolina. It's
I would like to add not just Myrtle Beach.
Well, everybody. And some facts about the storm itself might be of interest. First off, 30 inches of rain fell in the mountains, and the mountains where the rain fell are about a mile above Asheville and the Western North Carolina towns. So more than 9 billion gallons of rainwater rushed down the mountains 1 mile at top speed and jammed up everything. So these rivers and the reservoirs are completely changed forever. Towns completely wiped off the map, as you probably have heard. Areas in Asheville completely destroyed and completely gone. I went up to visit Lisa and Michael's house. We couldn't get in touch with them, so we went up to see how they were doing. And I walked past an area, we walked through an area that we couldn't drive through that looked to me like missiles had struck it. It was just utterly destroyed. Things I've never seen. And I've been in 2 hurricanes in Myrtle Beach and an earthquake and other things, and I've never seen anything to equal the destruction that I saw just walking up north of where we live. Where we live was a block that had absolutely no damage, but 1 block away from us, almost all the houses were crushed by trees. They didn't have power for a week or 2 weeks after we got our power. Water is a problem everywhere. Internet's a problem everywhere. And I bring this up mostly because I want to talk about the economic effects on this area. This is an area that has been mainly funded by tourism and retirees coming to live in a nice place. It's no longer a nice place. The place I was walking through with to get to Lisa and Michael's is a big retirement area. Just horrible destruction. People are not going to want to live there. They're going to want to leave their houses. Kipper's business is destination weddings. There's not going to be a lot of destination weddings. His wife's business is funded by the tourism that comes to Biltmore State, which is right where her shop is. Tourists are not going to be coming to buy fancy eyeglasses anymore. 80% of the breweries in Asheville were washed away or destroyed. And can't tell you how many young people, I call them youngsters because I'm an old fart, employ thousands of people, restaurants, hotels, breweries, all based on a tourism economy. And the tourism economy is totally going to be dead. So the immediate effects, the immediate help that you've been given is fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. But I'm very concerned that we not forget the long-term effects on the people that are living here, which are going to be really, really tough for them. I don't know what happens to like all of Barbara's yoga teachers who are doing yoga as a side gig after they're done waitressing, things like that. I want us not to forget them. I want us not, those of us who are doing okay, I want us not to forget these people in the area who are going to be extraordinarily financially hit by what's happened to them. And I don't have any clue how to help them, but I'm thinking about it, and I hope you'll be thinking about it too. There's probably stuff we can do, and I can't get over how extraordinary, imaginative, and resourceful the groups have been that have been supporting us. So thank you, Angela, and thanks to all the people who have donated. I got to say, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I'm done.
Yeah, it has been an international fundraising effort. I posted on every email list I could think of. I asked them to forward it on. I've sent to Australia and England and I've posted everywhere I can think of on Facebook. Within Asheville, communications are down so much that even Ashevilleans have probably been the last to hear that, Baba Zoom's making this big effort. And that's neither here nor there. Internet is coming back, and we are going to be able to communicate better. I don't know how to help the long term. I know that in the immediate future, there will be continuing need for physical objects. Everything was wiped away. Entire buildings got washed down the hill. I said to someone, "Oh my God, I've seen pictures of the flooding. The water's up to the tops of buildings. The whole towns are underwater." He said, "Not just underwater, washed away." I mean, the level of destruction is unbelievable. Who knows, maybe some of us can come up with some business plans for some little enterprises to employ these folks virtually. Anyway, we will continue to brainstorm and we'll see what we can do. You never know. There's a lot of us in the Baba world, and there's a lot of different kinds of people. And if we all work together, and to speak to Michael's point about individuals and communities, it's really been that obviously Baba Zoom is not an organization, and organizations, even in the Baba world, have taken a long time to respond, but they've been happy to forward my emails onwards. So that's kind of the nature of an organization. Once you have a lot of people, then a lot of people have to decide, and then a lot of people have to decide on what, and then they have to approve those things. It's much quicker if a centralized sort of pivotable community is able to respond quickly and in the short term, hopefully long term as well. I'm going to call on Evie and Hugh. We can come back to you, Jay, if you think of anything else.
I'm going to post a link to an extraordinary video from
Oh,
a
okay, good.
place
And maybe we'll play it later.
about a mile from Lisa and Michael.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, maybe we'll play it later. Hugh, Evie? You got to unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. It's very heartening to see everybody here today that wasn't in Asheville. It's very important now for people to connect from the heart. And so to see caring people from afar who are paying attention and offering support means a huge amount. My background, I'm a printmaking artist, and I lost my artwork in the River Arts District. The whole building was basically just empty of stuff and filled with mud. And that was a personal sadness, but it wasn't a loss of life, but it's a reflection of what other people have said about the River Arts District, and its level of creativity is now just mud. Because I do a lot of work for MAC, I've been so pleased and amazed at volunteers who step forward to offer help, support, and talent. I will say that the MAC building with its beautiful bones is strong and intact. It suffered no damage at all. There were some trees down which have largely been removed. And MAC is hosting a Dooney this afternoon at 4:30, from 4:30 to 6. The roads are clear. And if anybody in the local area or from further away wants to gather in, collaboration and love and support and offering something to pitch into the fire, now is probably a really good time to think about doing that. My background is also as a trauma therapist, and I am observing all the signs of trauma in myself. And I observe them in so many people that I love and am connected with in Asheville and the wider community. And I think that's really a question of time. Not sleeping well is normal. Being irritable is normal. Getting pissed off about some tiny thing, it's all normal right now. It's not bad. It just comes and goes, and you have to ride it like a wave. So part of my concern is just that people hold a generous space for themselves in terms of understanding that this was a horrible devastation to witness. And those of us who were there or here understand what that was like. And then the rest of people from far away just say, my God, that was just terrible, which it was. And so I'll say that in my neighborhood, my house survived. I had a couple of good friends with me who were not safe in their own homes. A friend whose home in Barnersville was flooded, and fortunately she was with me because come speeding down the mountain was a motorhome that crashed into her front porch and wrapped itself around. And so I have 100 stories of people that have survived things and been fortunate. And there was one person in my neighborhood, I don't know who that is yet because we haven't had good connection, but he's gone. I think he was, as some other people have commented, people got buried in the mud, and it takes a great deal of vigilance and search and rescue now. With already 2 weeks gone, what's going to be found in the mud will be human lives that were, some of them 4, 5, and 6 generations in the mountains. And in one village, everything disappeared, and in the next one, people survived. So the grief level, it's enormous. And if we could just hold a candle in our hearts for that grief, and patience for people who feel impatient or irritable or can't sleep, it's all part of recovering, and it just takes time, patience, and love, I think. So thank you all for being here.
So I wanted to comment on one of the positive aspects I've seen that has already begun to get criticism. One of my business properties was largely destroyed. I'm not sure that any of it's going to be savable. It looks like some may be, but in the process of meeting with my daughters there to start trying to figure out, okay, let's open up this property so the tenants can come in and check their storage units, and couldn't do anything. We just could not do anything. It was such an incredible wreck. We thought we could, communicate, okay, your locker number so-and-so is looking good or it's not looking good or whatever. They were all the same. It didn't matter whether the thing was flattened, which some of them literally were, like you hit it with a track hoe and just boom, pushed it down. But all the others were filled with mud and water up to the 6 foot level. And so everything in there is destroyed. So what do you say? Oh, your stuff is wet and soggy and muddy. But what I observed while we were there were the FEMA people and the fire and tobacco, what is it? ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms people, military troops, paratroopers, just covering the area. And we watched the FEMA people go down the river, but between the river and this business property, searching for bodies. And they do it so respectfully. And I hear criticism, oh, FEMA's moving so slowly. Well, if you watch them and the care they went about looking for the missing, it puts a whole nother picture on it. They thought they had found a possible body in a pile of trash behind my property. And they began to pick it apart. This is just rolls of debris and trash and plastic and all sorts of stuff that was probably 4 or 5 feet high. And they were taking it apart with their fingers, right? And the only thing they had for probes was a plastic PVC pipe about that big around, and they were just gently like doing this. Luckily, all they found was a jacket, which the dog had identified, and so it smelled of human on the jacket. But that was all that was there. But it just developed such a huge, I just developed such a huge respect for the professionalism and the way these people went about it, and their dedication and their sensitivity to those people around them. And so while we hear lots of criticism, and I'm sure there's places they missed and skipped and got too late, I understand all that, but I had no criticism of FEMA and the dedication with which they went after doing their initial work. So I just wanted to put a plug in and say, when you hear that junk about FEMA didn't do, consider the load they had, and then consider the finite, delicate way they went about the most tragic piece of this storm. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That's a very good point of view. Yeah.
We're going to need to get off now, but again, just Jai Baba to everybody. So good to see your caring and loving faces today.
Jai Baba. Just wanted to follow up with a couple of things. Definitely with trauma recovery, it's obviously in everyone's own timing, but it does help to talk about it, and it does help to know that there are people who are willing to listen and to receive the trauma. It's going to be a lot of processing and a lot of horrible stories, and on everybody else's end, as much as we can, we need to receive it and be there for them. I've been very glued to whatever I can find out, and I know that FEMA and the National Guard and the Army and all sorts of organizations are there, large organizations like Red Cross and charities like that. World Central Kitchen is there. But the need is so great, and the amount of communication has been so disjointed, honestly. It does still feel like us individuals are still making a massive difference, and other individuals. I saw this whole organization that was coordinating in private citizens as pilots and coordinating drop-offs in different parts, and there's donkey trains, mule trains that are going because the roads are so bad. I mean, it's just insane, the amount of need and the amount of individuals who are helping as well. So just wanted to say that we as individuals can all do our little part, and hopefully we'll relieve some of the hole. So if everyone can chip in a little bit. I'm going to call on people who haven't shared yet first. So Scott, if you want to go next.
Hi, everybody. I'm sitting in a local public supermarket, which has been a haven for the community. Apparently, they're based in Florida and have some knowledge of how to handle things like this. So they had backup generators and they were immediately available with Wi-Fi and phone service. It's quite a community of people, you know, in the store, in the aisles, outside, when there was no phone service whatsoever, no way of contacting. That was one of the more stressful things, both for people here and people who cared about people here, because there was no information. I was getting, as many people were, you know, queries from friends nationally, internationally, say, we've seen the news, hope you're okay. Apart from what one could see with one's own eyes, it was very hard to have any idea the scope of the problem. And it was only really 5-6 days later, being able to look at Facebook and YouTube and things like that while sitting in a supermarket, that people here began to get some idea of the scope of the devastation, which was really, it's indescribable. Kipper was saying, you know, it's you can't really understand it unless you walk through it. And I think the comments that have been made about trauma are really important. Everyone that I've talked to who has stepped away from this area to Charlotte or Myrtle Beach or gotten somewhere else with friends and family, there's one consistent thing I've heard from everybody, which is within 24 hours of getting there, they have a collapse. They're on the floor and they can't get up, they're crying. And it's a decompression leaving a trauma zone, even if you're not, you know, up to your waist in mud, even if you know, you still have a roof over your head, there's a level of adrenaline and trauma that's affecting the whole area. My area, Jay Shower was talking about Michael and Lisa Morris. I live right next to them, same road. And there was a tornado that came down the little valley right near there. And there was 15-foot high walls of trees on the road. And for 2 days, there were about 30 people who lived on the road who came out with chainsaws and loppers and hand saws and hacked our way. It was like, you know, cutting the, you know, in the rainforest or something, finally making the road passable. But there were thousands of trees down there. Most of them are taken up by their roots, but many of them were broken off 10, 12 feet off the ground. There was incredible wind that must have come through there. We didn't have any rising water, but we had water coming down the mountains. Again, not like Chimney Rock or Marshall, where the, you know, things were swept away. Unfortunately, the homes of the group where I live, lots of trees down, but you know, no one was injured. But I've been really touched by so many things. Certainly, Angela and everyone that you're connected with Baba Zoom. It's been, you know, incredibly helpful and very moving to see the outpouring of help. And I think it's taken people from outside the area to have the wherewithal to bring things into this area to help people. Many people here are just trying to figure out how to, you know, dig out from their own homes or help their neighbors. One piece of information that I want to share with those of you who are not in the area to give a little perspective. I've heard two different figures of the amount of body bags that are being requested by the crews that are going out into remote areas in helicopters, both of which are daunting. The first one was 500 and the second one was 1,000. So that's not to say that many people have died, but it is possible. And I don't think we're going to know. I have a friend who's a toxicologist, works with soil management, and they said that they have no idea what's in the mud, but it's not clean in terms of places that there's 3 or 4 feet of mud. It's kind of unspeakable, the amount. You know, I've always thought of floods happening in other places that I haven't lived, to other people, and you see the waters rise and you see the waters go down and you think, oh, isn't that horrible? And then you hear that, you know, they've recovered. But I've never been in a situation like this before. And it's quite overwhelming. It's, you know, the water's gone away, but that the situation is bad and it's going to stay bad for a long time. Power is coming back on. Water is coming back on outside of the city of Asheville. You've heard about their water system. I just heard today that they've opened up an auxiliary pipe for non-potable water So just for flushing your toilets, they don't even want people to shower with it. And while they repair the water system, conservative estimate for repair of the water system is a couple of months. We'll see. But schools are now drilling their own wells to try to have water so that the schools can reopen. We're hoping to be able to do so by the end of this month, but that's also unclear.
It's hard to imagine going to school in this environment.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, fortunately or not, there's the pandemic experience for remote learning, but most people, if you don't have power, you don't have internet, you obviously can't take advantage of that. I don't have any power where I am because of all of the trees that I mentioned. The power lines don't just have one tree, they have 40 trees down across them, and power poles are broken. So it could be another couple of weeks where I am before the power comes back on. Phone service is gradually trickling into different areas, which makes a huge difference, simply to be able to tell people you're okay, or have conversations with people. So anyway, that's just a little glimpse of some of what's going on here. One last thing to mention, in addition to the efforts we've heard about from others connected to Baba Zoom and other groups, in my community, there's someone who's connected with the Methodist Church, and somehow he got word or was contacted by someone else in a different Methodist church north of Pittsburgh. And that church put out a call for donations for basic supplies on a Friday afternoon. And by Sunday afternoon, they had a 24-foot U-Haul truck full, absolutely full to the brim. And the pastor and I think 3 guys drove down. I think it took them 15 or 16 hours. I don't know how long to come here from northwestern Pennsylvania. And at 7 a.m, text went out to the neighborhood, and about 25 of us showed up at 7 a.m. in the dark to unload this truck that had driven overnight. And that was really very moving. There was lots of bottles of water, there were diapers, there was canned food, there were sleeping bags. But to think that there are people, I have no idea who they are. They're in Pennsylvania as part of their commitment to service. They made this effort to send some basic stuff down here. So anyway, lots of acts of selfless service along with lots of destruction. So all in Baba's hands. That's all for me.
Yeah, I have the strong feeling that obviously big destruction is how we break down our differences and separations. And unfortunately, with all of our self-containedness that, the power of the internet gives us, and our cell phone, and we're like the master of our little universe, and we get in these little bubbles of a car, and we live these very sort of like independent and separate lives. And suddenly we have to get to know our neighbors when these things happen, and we have to find what brings us together, not what divides us. And suddenly we tune in to the love that is there and is possible. And I've been through very much smaller sorts of things in terms of what I've witnessed personally. And it's a beautiful thing right after a big trauma, how everyone gets together and feels all kumbaya, and then it wears off, everybody gets back to life as normal. And so I can see from Baba's perspective, this is really hard, we got to keep getting a little bit of smack on the cheek. And some of these smacks are a little bit louder than others, unfortunately. So I do hopefully want to spend more time on the recovery aspect if we can, but there are still folks here who have not shared, if they want to share, about the experience of going through this storm. What shall we call it? Hurricane, I guess. And their own personal experiences of what it's like to live with the aftermath. I see that Diana's got internet. Yay! If there's anybody else local to the area.
Are you calling on me, Angela?
I am, if you want to share.
I could say a few things. You've heard so much about sort of the big picture, but I haven't been out. I've been very fortunate. Things are going well for me. But I can give sort of like the picture of the mini universe, like the neighborhood. I walk daily in my neighborhood, and people see me daily in the neighborhood. And there are people who I stop and talk with, and there are people they don't interact a lot with other people or with me. And people have been extraordinarily friendly. They've been asking after each other. People ask each other when they stop each other on the street if there's anything they need. I think they sincerely mean it, that they will try to get what's needed for that other person. In my neighborhood, there are a couple of people who have put card tables out in front of their homes, and they just stock their little card table with cans of beans and personal products and a bag of fresh jalapeno peppers in one case and cans of soup, and it's just free for the taking. And it's just so lovely to see people reach out to each other. I spent the first I still do it, but I spent the first few days glued to my radio. And I didn't have power, so I have this old Walkman, and I would just sit there and listen for the two updates given at our NPR station here, one at 11 in the, one at 10 in the morning and one at 4 in the afternoon. And we'd hear from the fire department, police department, every department in city and county, just giving us information. And after the reports from whichever departments were there reporting, then the the national papers would be there asking questions, sometimes the same question every day. Everyone's asking for a timeline. I can't imagine how frustrating it is to hear, someone asking for the timeline every day. But and then there's another program that I found very moving. I think it's I Heart Asheville Radio, which is an AM station, and I don't know what they do, but I came across it. And these two guys are there. They sound like mountain people. They sound like they are local people who are just taking phone calls from someone who might be driving in a neighborhood and saying there's gas in such and such a place, or asking for something personal. One man was called in and said he was having a difficulty with his mental health, and they said, do you believe? Do you want me to send someone out for you? He was having trouble because in his location, other people got power back and he didn't, and he had an ant infestation, and it was really rough for him. And the people in the radio station were going to send out people to take care of the ants, that, whatever they could do. So many individuals would be calling in with their personal thoughts and concerns. And these men were there 24 hours. It was there day and night. And it was just so interesting because this is like the community, one community, the radio, a fabulous place to connect. And so that's where I was getting a lot of my information. Altogether, the whole thing, it's we say it's hard to take in. It's not real for me yet. There will be new paths for me to drive around the city because some streets aren't open. The schools are going to have to reroute their buses. The old bus routes don't work anymore. So they're going to have to reroute their buses. So many things that I wouldn't even think of have to change. And I haven't been out looking. I've only seen what's on the internet. I saw a short video of 5 minutes. I think it was last night, of two men walking. You can't drive on the Blue Ridge Parkway. They were walking on the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's matchsticks out there. It's just so different. And so it's just going to be a long time living with it and taking it in by learning how to live with it. Baba Zoom has been wonderful. It's a great place to meet. It's a time of community. The communities that have been established for a long time. In Asheville, I was very concerned about the Spanish-speaking community and the undocumented folks who are now really being concerned about being seen because of who's in from various organizations. And I was reassured that there's been a very strong connected Spanish-speaking community in Asheville for years and years.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
It's being activated. And there are other marginal communities. I was hearing, I think, of people who need different kinds of physical assistance. People with disabilities, that's a marginal community. And how are they being helped? There's just so much to learn about what makes a community. And it's so beautiful to see us together, finding out about it and helping each other. I don't know what else to say. Just thank you so much, Angela. Jai Meher Baba.
Jai Baba. What you said about community, that's amazing. I'm just gonna do a quick little share, and then I'll call on you, Jeff. So I saw this post some time ago, and it really gave me pause. So the post was an image of a femur that was old, and it had mended. It had been broken, and it had mended. And the person who found it said, this is the first sign of civilization. And the person interviewing her said, what are you talking about? Like the fact that they could mend a bone? And she said, no, the fact that a person who broke a bone would have been cared for long enough to recover and then move somewhere else and survive. This is, in a lot of ways, the definition of civilization. If we can be here for each other when one is down and the other lifts, when you're down, the other lifts, it's actually a very amazing definition of civilization. I think that it's probably hit me to the core in a deeper way than I even thought, because really, there go I, but for the grace of God, you know what I mean? So, Jeff Asbell, you wanted to say something. You need to unmute. There you go.
I thought I did. So much for my mindfulness. Welcome, everybody. A few thoughts. I don't know how to express my feelings about this extraordinary cataclysm that happened in Asheville and beyond. But not to focus on that here in my little time. A few thoughts. Pete Townsend is with Baba, and I'm going to spend a little time now looking for ways to find his email. I'm checking out the last label record that he was with, and whatever I can find. If some of us also do some searching on the internet and we can get Pete Townsend's email, or somebody who may know him, a manager, I believe if we contact him and ask him for some financial aid for Asheville, I think he will help.
Why stop short? Let's go to Taylor Swift.
Please. Yes. So I'm going to take Pete Townsend.
There you go.
I don't know who Taylor. Oh yes, of course I know who Taylor Swift is. Just had dinner with her last night.
That's right. Great, Jeff. Why didn't you say so?
I will try. I'll look up Taylor Swift also. I wish I didn't know.
Well,
But
major donors are needed, but even us regular folk, we can do a lot. Look at what the fundraiser was able to do. So Baba Zoom Fundraising, in the space of, well, now it's been a week, but in the space of the first 3 days, $30,000 was raised. We're up to about 40 now, which is exciting. what is that in the large scale of things? It's a little something. But in the small scale of things, every individual chipping in $25 or $100, or some people even able to pitch in 3,000. I've had a couple of $3,000 donations. It's like wonderful. But like, the accumulation of everyone's individual efforts adds up to a large whole. We can and should reach out to people that we know have funding, but we also as a group have a very incredible ability to help, even if it's just to pass on the word that there is fundraising going on and that there is support for real people who are helping real people.
I'll say one other thing,
Okay.
but people really help you.
Yeah. Okay. Oop, you muted yourself. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Unmute, Jeff. There you go. Nope. There.
Okay. You had said a little earlier, within the last 12 minutes approximately, when things like this happen and everybody's really open and there for each other and there's that kind of love that we wish would be consistent.
You know, it's a huge thing when the news cycle is focused on something. The last time I did a major fundraiser was when India was hit with a second wave of COVID, and I was able to just sort of lightning rod some donations because I knew individuals who could really do work there. I wasn't just sending to, some entity who was helping them, in quotes, the nameless everyone, but real people helping real people. And that's what I'm doing with this one as well. And I know that when the news cycle moves on, the funding dries up. But you know what? I can only do what I can do, and Baba will take care of the whole picture. But if there are those who are moved, we can keep this fundraiser going as long as it continues to receive sustenance. So we'll put the word out.
What you're saying is all about people's intentions, people's hearts. And my understanding is the earth does feel, we'll call it psychically, the billions and billions and billions of people's emotions. It feels it, probably like the most sensitive human being we've ever met. And you said when this happens, people are very open and very helpful and loving, actually. So I want to mention something that's personal without mentioning any names. The Baba lovers were encouraged by Meher Baba to love one another. Jesus has said it his way, which was the words, love one another as I have loved you. Forgive 70 times 70. Turn the other cheek. He didn't say turn both cheeks, but he said turn the other cheek. Sometimes if something is inappropriate, you have to speak up. What I'm really saying is this. I'll give you an example of something happened when my wife, Rachel, and I lived in Asheville. We're with a beautiful Baba meeting in somebody's home. The vibes are great. And there was a moment or two or three, and Tom Riley, may his soul rest in peace, incredible Tom Riley, loving Tom Riley. He asked me a question, and he said, Jeff, what's surrender? And I'm pausing, and I'm pausing, and I'm pausing, and I said, and somebody called out, I'm not going to give the emotional intensity. Don't answer that question. And the room went into even more silence. And I mention this because to me, love one another can even mean just be loving toward one another at Baba meetings. You don't have to invite them over for dinner. You don't have to invite them to take a walk in the woods or go to Whole Foods and have a nice meal. It's very interesting. As I walked out, this Baba lover, who's been a long-time Baba lover, been to India a number of times, who's a wonderful soul, a great soul, she came up to me and she said, I'm sorry. I said, of course, I understand, no worry. Turns out that Diana Goodhart was at that meeting because I walked out with Diana Goodhart. I was about 15 feet in front of her. And Diana Goodhart said something really very important, which I'm not going to quote, but it was very important to me because she expressed some wonderful discerning feeling that when I heard what she said, it really affirmed in my own mind that I was not in left field and that what happened was a little bit skewed, just not be too judgmental with words. But I think it's very, very beautifully important wherever we are with Baba lovers or anybody, but especially with our Baba lover communities, talk in a loving way. You may have ideas about the person that you think is this or that, but if we can't talk to one another, especially Baba meetings, with a loving heart, my mistake at that meeting was I was so shocked at being shut down, I didn't have the awareness to say, "Hey, Baba, not to do any encountering here, but Baba wants us to be loving one another as he loved us. Can we at least talk lovingly to one another?" I didn't have the awareness to say it at that time. So I'll shut up now and just say, I think it's really important that whatever ego differences or whatever things that rub Baba lovers this way and that way, and I know there are certain things that are happening with certain people now that we've left a while, that somebody has to gently and lovingly mention this because that's what it's all about. If we can't love one another, just keep loving
That is what
tones.
it's all about.
I mean,
It's
what are we
true.
what are we reading the discourses for? And what are we sitting with Baba's name? And Baba, 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 I love you, I love you. So and the last thing I'll say is I'm thinking about why did beloved Baba allow this to happen in Asheville? And in the back of my unconscious mind, I'm saying to myself, I don't know if this is true, not that we'll talk about it. Anger, resentment, negativity causes, I think, Mother Earth to go through various earth changes. I look at Baba as the Lord of Karma. I think he is the Lord of Karma. He doesn't change karma hardly ever. Occasionally he has. But I think it's really important for everybody to say to themselves, not that we'll have an answer necessarily, or all the same answer, we won't. Why did this happen to Asheville? One of Baba's second
I
home.
don't think Asheville needs to take it personally, but I do think that these, Baba's wake-up calls are gonna happen all over, everywhere, in small ways. Baba said it would be lots of small things, and on the scale of the planet, that is small. On the scale of humans, it's gigantic. Yeah, Jay Baba.
Hey,
I think
Baba,
we have some hands up.
I didn't step over boundaries. If I did, I'm sorry.
No worries, Jay Baba. Diana, you had more you wanted to share?
Yes. I've heard that Pete Townsend's name being mentioned a couple of times, and it brought to mind that I heard something on the radio that actually touched me so deeply, and that is that there's going to be a concert called Concert for the Carolinas. And it's going to be, I have this in front of me right here, on October 6th at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. And there are going to be some headliners. I don't know anything about music, although I have heard of
October
James.
6, 25?
October 26th, it says.
Oh, 26. Oh, I'm like October
October
6th.
26th.
26.
What's interesting, it says all proceeds will support Chef Cares, Manna Food Bank, which is our big food bank in Asheville, Second Harvest Food Bank, I'm not familiar with. Samaritan's Purse, that's Franklin, what's his name's, Franklin Graham's organization, I think, and Evelyn Charities. Evelyn is the local charity that supports the schools. I used to work in the school system. When you had a kid who needed glasses and the parents couldn't do it, Evelyn saw that your kids got glasses. They are the a major local charity that takes care of kids in the schools. And it's just so wonderful. And it's just to know, to see that this concert is going to occur just makes me feel noticed as an Ashevillean, you know,
By the way,
by the larger community outside of the Baba world, where
yes.
I see it, and that it's important, and that they want to raise money for
Well,
us.
Dolly Parton has personally donated $1 million, and her foundation is matching with $1 million, so she sent 2 million. But hey, speaking of benefit concerts, excuse me, what about the Baba Zoom Live Aid concert that we're doing? No, I'm just kidding. But it is actually a fundraiser. We have like 13 or 14 musicians lined up. They're mostly Myrtle Beach musicians, so it's, you know, the amateur version, but hey, you know, it's something. It's the same day. I hope you're not going to that if you can attend ours. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so that's happening on the 26th.
Oh, good, I gave you the opportunity to promote that.
Yeah, it's actually going to be live streamed on Baba Zoom. It's obviously not going to be like perfect sound. It'll just be whatever we can do to keep it simple. I'm not going to break my head over how to make the sound like, you know, Live Aid quality. But it's our little Baba Lover amateur attempt at a concert because we believe in the cause. We believe in helping Asheville recover as much as we can. Elisa, you had something earlier. Did you want to? You have to unmute if you're okay. Anyone else have something else they'd like to say? Richard, go for it.
I'm sorry I dropped in late.
Yeah.
I've watched as much as I could of all the YouTube videos, you know, and Channel 13 or whatever it is, you know, on Asheville. But I wanted to ask you, Diana, so because for some reason in my mind, the physics of a society is based upon water to drink and then water to clean, showers, you know, flush the toilets, and then the sewage sanitation system. So I've tried to keep up on all that, but the last update I heard on that 11 a.m. County website was that the 36-inch bypass is installed. And now they have to start trying to reduce the turbidity of the North Lake up there, the water supply lake. I mean, for the North water treatment plant. And I was wondering, how do you guys take showers? Primary. I mean, I know it sounds as a simple question, but I mean, that seems to be for the majority of Asheville residents, that seems to be the issue now is non-potable water or something close to it.
It varies. You know, some people were not affected. There are some locations that didn't lose water or power. And some people lost everything. So it just depends on where people live and how they're managing.
We give out, we invite people over for showers. We're having people over almost every
The
day for
showers are
showers.
inviting people for showers.
Yep. They got to put up with my crazy dog, but yeah.
I'll take a shower at the showers.
That's common. Everybody's helping everybody.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of people with well water, and that's been incredibly helpful. I am really excited about this potable water delivery that Baba Zoom was able to help fund. So since you showed up late, you didn't hear that whole thing. There's 32 water tanks, 300 gallons, that a Baba lover was trying to put together just with her neighbors, and she was having a hard time fundraising because it's pricey. And thankfully, Baba Zoom has been able to fundraise enough to support her efforts. And so now she just has to focus on getting them and delivering them. So the reason 32 was chosen is because that's how many fit on a truck. So they'll be delivered empty. And she has information for who can deliver water for a donation. So it's not going to cost an arm and a leg. It's going to cost whatever people can chip in. So one of the things that I'd like to do with this fundraiser is down the road, if people need help just, donating for water and that sort of thing. Yeah, absolutely. I want to help with that, So, I'm going to keep this fundraiser going as long as possible. We're going to totally help as many as we can with the funds that we receive. So it's whatever Baba sends. But if you can't personally send anymore, please spread the word. We're doing real things for real people. And some of the folks who we've been able to help are here, and some of the folks who've been able to help as part of the overall effort are here and participating in this Zoom call. Marilyn.
Yeah, that was great, Angela. You've been doing unbelievable work over there. I'm not in Myrtle Beach right now, so I'm with my
That's
mom
right.
in
You survived
Tamarack.
the hurricane yourself.
And we were pretty much unaffected, but I just want to say what great work you're doing, and everyone in your own capacity, whatever you can do, you're doing. And Baba knows what each of us can handle and can't. And so even though we weren't prepared for things, he's done great preparation for these events, most likely, I think. And I just wanted to say, I feel that everyone at one point or another will need to undergo more suffering. And I remember sitting in Mandalay Hall on time when Mani was speaking, and she says, I can't remember the whole conversations prior, but she just said, no one gets away scot-free. And it just left, a mark in my mind. I will never forget when she said that. No one will get away scot-free. Whatever she was referring to, take that for however you want to. And I think Baba's been doing his work, and he must do his work, and he has to do what he has to do. And I guess we're going to become strong, solid soldiers for God. And he's been preparing us, whether, we're conscious of it or not, consciously or unconsciously, he's been preparing us
I think that
to
soldiers
participate.
for God is only a stepping stone.
to
Ultimately, we're going to be God realized. None of this is important.
Yes, and he has been preparing us consciously or unconsciously for this participation in the renewal of life, which maybe is his new humanity.
Perhaps so.
So we keep on keeping on, and I'm so grateful for all the people who are able to, come and serve and uplift and help these people that are in dire need now, and to give them the strength to, move ahead in Baba's love in this new life that they have to live for him, with him, and it's by him. And I love you all. I wish I could do more, but maybe this is what he wants me to do. Just this. Who knows? Jai Mayor Baba.
Jai Baba.
And if you want to say the beloved God prayer at the end of the meeting, or if everybody wants to participate in the Pravarti God prayer or anything like that to bring us together
we
at
can
the
end
end of
with that.
this.
I'm not quite ready to end.
No, but I'm just making a suggestion. So Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. So a couple people commented that Taylor Swift donated 5 million. That's amazing. So, all right. So where's Pete Townsend? No, I'm just kidding. Did anyone else have something to share? I have some photos to share, and I wanted to kind of do it all at once rather than try to organize myself to individually do stuff. So, yeah, Marcia, go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna try to donate, do a silent auction, and I brought a lot of artwork, so I'll be putting that out there and send all the money to the hurricane.
To the Baba Zoom Fundraiser, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to share some photos because it's nice to see people in action. It's a little bit disorganized, but I'll do the best I can here. So I wanted to share that different projects have gone out, and the way that Baba Zoom has worked is that we don't necessarily do everything top down. We go by someone expressing enthusiasm, and then from there organizing around that, you know? So the first thing that happened actually is that Daniel Files said he wanted to go and we wanted to help, and he was on his way from Myrtle Beach to LA, and he wanted to go through Asheville and bring supplies. And I said, I don't know where or when or what or whatever, you know, and how are we going to afford that? And so uh, within a day of that, thank you, Baba, I got in touch with Inga. I was put in touch with her and heard that she was doing all this stuff. And so that's when I started the fundraiser, because now I had a driver and I had a list of things to get, and the fundraiser was starting to collect some funds. So let's see if I can share this way. I think that'll work. Let's see if I can do it that way. Yeah, so this is some photos. I'm not necessarily showing everything in order. I didn't properly prepare. Like I say, it's all been a rush. So this was just an example of Daniel getting gas, and notice the sign is working even though, and here he is with his, he only had an SUV and he piled it to the ceiling, and Baba Zoom was able to fund the whole thing, but he had to be a shopper. So it would be like lots of text back and forth. Like, you know, Inga would be like, oh, we need gas canisters. And he'd be like, how many? And he'd go to the store and say, there's 12 here. I was like, get them, get them. We can afford it. How much can you afford of that? And then Inga would be like, oh, we need gas stoves. Oh, okay. Or water purifiers, I think. And so he went to Bass Pro and said, you know, they're $50 a piece. How many should I get? I was like, all of them. So that's how that worked, you know? So this is on the other end, delivery, and this is him filling up a second batch of gas canisters. This is him to show that it's a real person doing this, and that's all of them in the. So this was a picture of one of the operations that Inga is supporting. These are all ex-military guys, so they got very organized with these step lists of, you know, steps of what needs to be done, prioritizing. So she's in touch with a lot of people. This was a delivery, and Daniel was there to witness all the packing up and sending out. So this is the other end that Inga sent photos of them receiving various supplies and bottled water and all sorts of things. This is on the way. No, this is actually Daniel just showing us the riverbanks that he personally witnessed. So this is his own photo. Yeah, so this is fuzzy, but this is an example of folks organizing. Oh, no, sorry. This is Chaipani. Very fuzzy. Sorry about that. This is the scene at Chaipani, and vats of food, 1,000 meals a day. They are being supported by World Central Kitchen, but Chaipani is also separately fundraising for support of its employees. So I've been able to send some funds. Hopefully, if we fundraise enough, we can send more, because they're doing such good work. So that's Daniel's trip. Let me pull up some more photos from Inga. She was out at this town. Now I blank out on which town this was. I'm vaguely remembering it's Marshall. I could be wrong. But their water tank was sent like 4 or 5 miles down the stream. And, you know, now it's just this tiny little creek bed. But the whole thing flooded so much that it actually floated a water tank. So this is one of her delivery trips. This is not all Baba Zoom supplies, but it is one of her delivery trips. She's loading up her SUV. And these are images from her trip there. And this is where they drop them off, where there's people who are giving out supplies. Oh, sorry, this was the same delivery that Daniel had pictures of. Like I say, these are out of order, but at least you get to see something of what she just experiences. I mean, one of the things that's so crazy is how real this is, and it still hasn't fully settled into my mind, let alone everyone else's. So this is a trip that, so soon after Daniel Files was going, Charlie Eaton was going, and they were in touch. And so Charlie committed to renting a truck. And so based on that, I put out an email to Myrtle Beach Baba lovers to bring a lot of stuff. And then in addition to that, I tasked Charlie with a whole shopping list and was able to fund that through the fundraiser. And then another member of the community bought a whole bunch of other stuff that she says submitted receipts for. And so between the rental of the truck, gas money, and all the supplies, Baba Zoom Fundraiser paid for about $6,500 worth of stuff on this truck. And the Myrtle Beach Baba lovers also donated stuff and left it at the gateway. So this is just a little example of some of the things that that was, sorry, a very small photo, and just loading the truck. So Charlie is not much for taking pictures, apparently, so we do the best we can with what we got. But Glenn sent a whole bunch of great photos. Some of this will be out of order, I apologize. So this is some of the stuff accumulating. And totes, they need totes because everything is so wet. He was bringing so much water. He has this forklift truck and he was loading. So Glenn just left. Today's Saturday. He just left yesterday. And this was them loading. This is his first view of the mountains. This is a picture of unloading. So you're getting some of these out of order, like I say. One of the things that Inga commented on was that there's very little fresh produce in the stores because they're just not getting the trucks coming in. There's some stuff to buy, but you can't really buy fresh produce. So as a care package, I asked Glenn to go shopping, and he got some stuff that at least Inga's household and immediate neighbors can benefit from. At least it's something, you know, we can't send a truck full of groceries, but we can send that. It's a lot harder to distribute things that need refrigeration, so it's really better if people are just donating food to donate canned goods. Apparently, Amy's is popular because at least it's a little healthier. They've been 2 weeks on very, very bland and boring food. This is Inga's son, youngest, helping with the water. Oh, and back to the back to the loading up. So like I say, these are out of order. I just downloaded in a hurry to this computer. I have stuff in both computers here at home and at work, and you know, it's just doing the best we can, right? Loading up. So yeah, he brought his truck and a trailer, and he has his buddy with a pickup following behind, so they were able to take all this stuff. And here's Becky, Glenn's wife. Selfless service and love are two twin divine qualities. Only the one who loves can truly serve. Meher Baba. Jai Baba. So that's all the photos I have at this minute. One of the things that is exciting is I'm just starting to get photos of the water tanks, the 300-gallon ones. That's happening today, and I'm going to be getting a lot of photos of them being delivered and all sorts of wonderful real impacts that we can have. And these are just us individuals. We're not even talking about, you know, large charities or even Baba organizations. This is people who may be connected to organizations, yes, but like the organizations so far are not the ones who are spearheading any of the aid. It's just us, the community, you know, individuals who are chipping in to help other individuals who are helping other individuals. And yeah, of course, we don't have the scale that a FEMA or a National Guard has, and they're all on the ground, but the need is so great that we can definitely, each of us, make a difference. If you can't physically donate to the fund, or if you don't like GoFundMe and you want to send another way, that's all good. If you're not able to financially donate, then please spread the word. And those who are watching the recording, I'm sure that you all will have in the YouTube a link to the GoFundMe and a personal contact for me if you want to send another way. All right, Jai Baba. I think that's enough for one meeting. Any final words? We can all say the beloved God prayer if you want. I think that would be a very good thing to end with. And muted or unmuted, I don't mind, you know, if people want to unmute and say it together. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more and more and more and still yet more till we become worthy of union with you. And help us all to love you more and more and more and more and still yet more till we become worthy of union with you. Everyone unmute, please. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Jai Meher Baba. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for watching the recording. Jai Baba.
Thank you.